Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Now a couple weeks ago I tested out some of the quickest trading methods in the entire game. Sure, they were not particularly practical or cost efficient, but they were kind of fun and they did technically have very quick experience rates. Well, today we're going to be trying out further methods, some of them even suggested by you guys. If you guys can think of any other ridiculously quick trading methods that I haven't already covered, let me know with a comment down below. No, I'm not going to be making demonic thrones because that is stupid. It would literally cost over 12 billion an hour to do that method, so it's not happening. Alright guys, let's get started. Alright, so the first method we're going to look at is kind of an interesting one, and that is going to be creating extended super anti-fire mixes. Now this is a barbarian potion that you unlock at literally level 99 Herblore. You need to actually have maxed out the skill to unlock this method. So based on that logic, it should be the quickest in the game, right? Well, potentially. Now making one extended super anti-fire mix actually gives you less than half the experience that a Saradomin brew would. However, the reason that this method can be pretty quick is because there is no chat logs, nothing interrupting you from clicking, which means really your only limit is your own finger dexterity and endurance. So we're going to give it a shot. What we're going to do is buy extended super anti-fire 4s right from the Grand Exchange, and then we're going to go ahead and decant them into 2-dose potions. That is required to make the extended super anti-fire mix. And what you're going to be combining that with is caviar. Now to make this method way easier, we're going to be taking advantage of the configure shift click plugin in RuneLite, and we're going to be configuring our shift click on both the caviar and the extended super anti-fire to use. That way we don't accidentally drink our potion, which would not only lose us money, but slow us down substantially. From here, the best way I found to do it is to drag one of your ingredients down into the bottom right, like this, and then of course you can click them together very quickly. Okay, so let's give this a shot. So like I said, really the only limit is how accurate your clicking is and your banking. I think it actually might be possible to get more experience per hour here than the Saradomin brews, but there's a giant list of reasons why this is not practical at all. For one, the super anti-fire mixes you make barely sell, nobody really buys those. Two is, even if it's marginally better, it requires such a high degree of clicking that nobody would ever actually do it. And three, of course, it is very expensive. So doing this method, I was actually able to get up to 430k per hour, maybe up to even 450k at some points, and it definitely was not perfect. So I definitely think it is kind of an interesting method. Something I have never made before, I've never used the potions before, I've never seen anybody do it before, and it does theoretically lead to one, if not the highest Herblore experience rates in the entire game. Now this next method here, which is kind of hard to even call a method, it's more just burning your money and throwing it away because you don't want it anymore, or at least your crystal shards. Well, if you do want to call it a method, it is one of the most expensive methods in the entire game, but it is also probably the quickest. Now that is making items out of your crystal shards in Prifddinas, and it provides you insane experience rates per hour. A huge shout out to Bekts, who took one for the team and tried out crystal bodies. I will leave a link to the video in the description. Keep in mind that every crystal shard is worth around 15,000 GP, which means even the 2,000 I'm going to sacrifice here is worth close to 30 mil. They're valued that way because if you actually want to obtain them in bulk, you do need to dismantle existing crystal items, which you can buy right from the Grand Exchange, but they do have a significant value to them. Now I'm going to be making crystal helms just so I can show you a little bit how more of this method works. Otherwise, I would not even have one inventory of crystal bodies. But if you actually were mega loaded, there'd be no reason not to do the highest level equipment here, which is the crystal body, because while it does cost 3 times more in crystal shards, it also provides you with 3 times the experience, so there's kind of no reason not to do it. Now for every crystal helm I make, I'm going to be getting 2,500 smithing and crafting experience, which is insane. And the thing that makes it totally crazy, you can make those all in one inventory in one game tick. I have no idea why out of all of the training methods in RuneScape, this is the one they decided, hey, yeah, let's let them convert them all at once. But essentially just converting that first inventory, I got 60,000 crafting experience and 60,000 smithing experience, which is completely insane. If you were to do that with crystal bodies, you would actually get pretty close to 200k in each per inventory that you do. But of course, before you get too excited here, that one inventory costs around 16 or 17 mil. That money's gone forever. And if you were to do this with crystal bodies, it would be 3 times that amount. Not to mention that to do this efficiently, you actually need a full inventory of crystal armor seeds, which are worth about 6 or 7 mil each right now. So it's another 150 mil you need just to have in your inventory. Granted, you're not going to be losing the seed. The only thing that you are losing are the crystal shards, thankfully, or else I would never have done this. It is pretty clear that you can get experience rates into the tens of millions per hour, but realistically, the only way to get a completely accurate experience rate would be to spend potentially billions, which it's not worth it. Now just based on crystal helms, I'd probably get around 3 mil per hour in each one, which means if you were to do it with the crystal bodies, you could probably get up to 9 mil an hour in both, which means you could max out both smithing and crafting in about an hour. Now just a quick moment of silence for my crystal shards. Alright, so the next method we're going to be trying here is fairly well known, and it's actually the quickest and most profitable way to train this skill. Now what I'm talking about is one Tick Karambwans cooking, and it does provide the highest cooking experience rate in the game. The one big drawback though, of course, is it just requires way too much clicking, more than I think most people are willing to do. Now the reason it requires so much clicking is because to do it effectively, you do need to one tick cook it, which requires a ton of clicking. Now you can start doing this at a very low level. You can cook regular Karambwans at level 30, and actually fun fact, at level 1 you can actually cook poison Karambwans, which is the quickest way to level up your cooking in the early levels. Now the theoretical highest experience rate you can get from this is 950k per hour, but realistically, unless you're running some sort of botting script or something, you're probably not going to be able to sustain that for very long or at all. Now on my way to 99 cooking, I did try one ticking Karambwans and I never got very good at it, but here's the basic premise. You're going to want to go to arranged. The best one as far as I'm aware is in the Myths guild, not the cooking guild like you would imagine. Now you will notice I have my client kind of arranged in a really weird way. Essentially you want to be on fixed mode and you want to drag your screen to be very long and narrow. Now the reason that we are doing that is so that we can have our inventory very close to our range or cooking source. From here all you have to do is withdraw a full inventory of Karambwans and put it down. Now it takes a long time to get used to this and I'm still not very good, but essentially for every tick you need to click from your Karambwan to the arranged and repeat that over and over and over again. If you do it correctly, every tick you should be cooking the Karambwan, which leads to some pretty insane experience rates. Now this does actually take quite a bit of practice to learn. I was only actually able to get up to around 750k per hour, which is still quite a bit quicker than any other cooking method in the game. I think after some practice I could probably push it maybe up to 850k per hour, but getting the theoretical max of 950k per hour cooking experience I think is pretty much impossible, at least to sustain for more than a few minutes. One thing I do like about this method is contrary to pretty much every other absurdly quick experience rate in the game, it actually is profitable and fairly profitable at that. If you're one ticking efficiently, you could probably get up to 700 to 800k per hour in profit on your way to level 99 cooking. So that is definitely a big plus in my mind. So I definitely can advocate for this method. There's no reason not to give it a shot. You might hit it like I do, but it will not ruin your bank. Now finally here we have another pretty expensive training method, and it's kind of interesting. It's a combination farming and construction training method. And while yes, I know these skills are often expensive, they're not normally this expensive. Now by far the quickest farming training method available actually at level 1 is planting tall box hedges in your POH. If you were to do this, you would blast through the first 30 or 40 levels within minutes, although it would cost you a ton of money. Planting any of the bagged plants in your POH is very expensive, but the tall box hedge is 100,000 GP per one you plant, so it adds up very quickly. Planting an entire inventory of tall box hedges will cost you nearly 3 mil. Now while you can do this at level 1 farming, you will need 80 construction to be able to plant the tall box hedge, but if you're alright spending 3 mil per inventory, you probably already have 80 construction anyway. Now while the tall box hedges are technically sold on the Grand Exchange, it's unlikely that they are. I mean, not many people buy these things. So to get them, you do actually have to go buy them from the garden shop in the Faldor Park. The NPC there will sell them for 100,000 GP each, although it does get more expensive for every one you buy. So if you actually are doing this, I would probably hop worlds a couple times. Now in your inventory, you're just going to want to have house teleport tablets, 3 filled watering cans, and the rest tall box hedges. From here, teleport to your house and go to building mode. Run up to your formal garden, plant the tall box hedge, and then just destroy it. And that's pretty much it. You just do that over and over and over again. I was getting experience rates up to around 200k per hour in both farming and construction, which is very good, although it's way too expensive. It's obviously not practical. Reiterating again, these methods are not meant to be practical, just showcasing what is theoretically possible. If you were to start this at level 1 farming, you could actually get from level 1 to 50 in around half an hour. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for today's video. Those are 4 more training methods that I would never really recommend doing, except for maybe one, but provide some of the highest experience rates in the entire game. Let me know if you think of anything else fun I could try out, but for now I definitely need to make a bit more money back. Now before I go here, I want to give a massive thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. A huge shout out to Valhalla Lad, who just subscribed at the Dragon tier of YouTube membership. Thank you, man, I really appreciate it. They're joining Brian Robinson, Cappy, Brad Sings, Ocelot, and Kush Patel, all at the Dragon tier. You guys are awesome. Also big shout out to Birdbot, Timothy Chen, and Base Titch. If you guys are looking for another way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is a really awesome way to do it. Help support me directly. In return, you can be immortalized in my videos, get access to my video release schedule, and even get a custom role in my Discord server. Anyway guys, thanks again, and I'll see you next time.